that I met some years ago in Malta, in France, about archeoacoustics. We noticed that we had some interest in common, and well, you will see better. He's a medical doctor from the Department of Medical Sciences, University of Trieste in Italy, which is the other. I believe there are also other, yes, Natalia Tarabella, which unfortunately could not come due to some problems, and Nina, which is present, and other author from Finland.
Yes, he's the sound engineer who analyzed our records. Oh, if you want, I can start.
So you can start.
I want to speak about this particular sacred site near Trieste, in Italy, northeast Italy. But I have to say something before. Maybe boring, I hope no. Because archeoacoustic now is a new methodology in the methodology of historical research. Now it's like a document. It's like a document for understanding better the sacred sites, the ancient sacred sites. Because we know that the musical instruments were the highest level of knowledge, of culture in ancient population. And probably for this reason, for this close contact between people and music and sound, they understood very early the possibility to change the state of mind. We tested, for example, in Sardinia. This is the sacred well of Santa Cristina near Oristano in Sardinia. Sardinia is a very good place because an island, it was not invaded a lot of time. The church, the Catholic Church, didn't destroy all these important and sacred pagan monuments. So now we have the possibility to analyze the characteristic of acoustic of these sites from an acoustic point of view. We tried to reproduce the original situation inside the nuraghi, this big building of Iron Age, and also the, the incredible acoustic aspect we found in the Domus Deianas. Domus Deianas is not only one side, but there are various sacred sites with a particular characteristic of acoustic, like in Malta. We found the same type of acoustic only in Malta. So now we are studying, we will go again in October for finishing our research, but reproducing the original situation with various drums, we have a strong effect on our consciousness. We, without taking substances, strange substances, we charge ourselves with energy. So we can understand that the ancient population used a lot of this phenomena for changing the state of mind. So archeoacoustic and I method excited from the pioneerism time because now it's very common. 20 or 30 years ago, when you speak about archaeoastronomy, a lot of my colleagues, academics, say, "Oh, it's not silly. It's silly theories." Now we accepted totally the archaeoastronomy. So the archeoacoustic. Paul Debertolis was one of the pioneers in this field. So we have to be very grateful to him. This is, for example, a dolmen in Italy, not destroyed by the Catholic Church, Why? Because it's on the top of the mountain, so it was very difficult to find and to destroy. You know me from, some people not all, from the first congress we had in Malta, in which I presented myself and the research from medical point of view, because I'm a medical doctor and study neuroscience. I presented in that time, but also after, our research on the Cividale del Friuli Ipogeum. This is an ancient Ipogeum in northeast of Italy, where tried to reproduce the situation, the resonance situation with the drum, the rituals, having an observation with the EEG, electroencephalography. So we obtained very interesting results in this. First, respect the research of Jan Cook, we observed that it was not only 110, the most important frequency for changing the state of mind, but everyone has his frequency, 90, 95, 100, but it's obvious because we are different. I am tall, another person is low, black eyes, blue, light blue eyes. So we are different. So also our sensitivity is different. And we observe that some areas are not, some people are not stimulating the same way. Some people has a stimulation of the frontal area and have ideas, thoughts. Other people has a stimulation from occipital area and have visions during this experience. But it's not for. Is not for. Why? Yes, it's important. The frequency has to be between 80 and 120 hertz. Outside, it's not possible. We have not this stimulation. What I think the most important thing we discovered, without saying it to the other researchers, I inserted 5 people in the group of volunteers, how can I say, with a good experience of meditation, of prayer. And they had a totally different behavior in the EEG. So, for normal people, like us, for example, with this particular frequency we tested a lot, we can have a good relaxation at a particular frequency. Good relaxation. The person is relaxed, is not so nervous. If he was before nervous, after he is not. But the most interesting thing is that the people with experience in meditation prayer had 2 or more rhythms. Because normally we are sleeping, or we are awake, or we are concentrated. These people had 2 rhythms minimum. So they were sleeping and awake contemporary. So in this way, they had visions. They had visions by the sound. So we can conclude in this aspect that these ancient sites were not for, but for initiated people, for a little elite of people trained to this particular meditation or prayer, let's say. But this is my side from medical doctor. But you don't know, but I am also an historian. I hope to be graduated next year, if I have time for doing this. So this time I want to speak to you about the historian point of view. This is another sacred site we studied in Sardinia, a giant tomb of Invertighe. Some important concept to understand, because when I will speak about the sacred site we studied, this is very important for understanding our conclusion. First, there is no history if there is not a subject who is watching the fact. If the facts were not watched by someone, they didn't exist. You understand? Because we have the history. Why? Because there is someone who saw, who described, who brought. So, without a source, there is no investigation, because the job of historian is to investigate on what we have. Oh, this is, for example, Wayland Smithy, we studied in south of England, which is considered a tomb with a particular resonance inside. It's difficult for me to believe that it was only a tomb. Yes, it was used as a tomb, but before it was a temple for these people. The investigation by the historian is the subject who makes the history, because the history is not, it is. The people make the history, the historians make the history. So, when we change the methods for analyzing some remains, we can have other conclusions. For example, we are also in Sardinia. What's the reason of the ziggurat in the North Sardinia? It's incredible. We don't find any other ziggurat in the basin of Mediterranean except in Mesopotamia. Why? This is the question of the historian. What is the competence? How is the competence of the historian? We have 4 approaches to the history. We have to watch the document, the sign. We have to speak. We have to ask to the book, to the people, because it's very important the memory by words. We have to listen, we have to apply the logic. Why? Because if the words say something and we see totally another thing, we have to resonate on it. So the historian competence is their ability to give a real value to the science, It's important to have good devices in archeoacoustics. Not Chinese microphones. It's important to have good. So the conclusion: history does not exist by itself, but is a particular historiography that is told and interpreted by the historian. Another example: we are in Bosnia. Received from the memory of the population something about this nice house. This is my car. I spoke with this man who is the memory of the community, and I discovered that someone built over an ancient temple, probably prehistoric temple, with megaliths of various tones, his house. And used this big megaliths as basement for his house. without speaking with a person like this, it was not possible to understand, because they covered the surface of the megaliths with paint. What is the relationship between archaeology and historiography? Archaeology and historiography has two different methodologies, but they have the same targets. Because the archaeology studies the material remains, the remains of human activity, and also the activity of the environment, so the ecological remains. For example, now the port of Rome, Ostia, is not on the sea. Something happened. So the historian has a more creative job. He has to investigate, interpret the significance and the value of the object and documents they examine. So this is, for example, another site we examined, the Mitreo Dolina, 1st century Anno Domini, and the question was why they placed the Mitreus in that place. Because with archeoacustic we recorded the movement of the river below this temple. And it was very interesting because there was a lot of noise, very low, having a strong effect on the consciousness. So the people present in those rituals were, how can I say, surprised, amazed by this continuous frequency below every ritual. So, by new methodology, it's possible to reopen the place. Why? Because by the use of robots, imaged by satellites, new photographic imaging, archeoacoustic, archaeoastronomy, we can change the interpretation of some sacred sites. Because history is not a number of facts. If not saw them, or no sign were left, it is like it never happened. So, it's important to distinguish history from historiography. It's okay. Because historiography is a great number of sources speaking about historical facts, and interpretation goes part by sources. Okay, another example. How time I have?
Sorry. 7 minutes.
7 minutes?
8.
Yeah, I will do very quickly. For example, we are again in Bosnia. I was called, because I am also a medical anthropologist, for examining these human remains, because during the ex-Yugoslavia was built this road passing through this sacred site. And this remain with the C14 demonstrated that in full Ottoman empires, the people buried their dead people under the lapids, very ancient, not directed to the Mecca, but directed to the north. This is an important thing, because the history of Bosnia, they say, when arrived the Muslims, they changed completely their customs. It's not true. But this was the problem with the Bosnian archaeologists for this. Because in this moment, it's not a good situation in Bosnia. Okay, I want to conclude this situation saying the document is a validated sign by the competent site of the investigator. If you are not able to see the things, you cannot conclude anything. You cannot interpret it. Okay, now we speak about Dolina Bogumili very quickly. It's a site near Basovizza, Trieste, on the northeast, the extreme northeast of Italy. That is built in a depression of the soil, in a dolina. Dolina is a geological term saying a sinkhole, because a river, an underground river, who melted the stones until they fall down. So it was, yes, it presents a narrow, long passage, and after a chamber with a dome. It's, how can I say, the island, the monuments in lower scale, with this corridor, with the passage, and after. So, this is the depression. It's very large. This projector compressed the image. Bogumili heresy. Why Dolina of Bogumili? In the memory, the name is Dolina Bogumili. Bogumili were a heresy, a Gnostic heresy, very common in that in Middle Age. So the Italian archaeologists considered that site as a medieval site, because the Bogumil were present in 10th century in Bulgaria, and after in Bosnia, and after in Italy, and after in France became Cathari. You know the Cathari, for sure. But the characteristic of this, they didn't use that Christian symbol. They said the cross was a symbol of death. They considered, they didn't build churches, but they considered the bodies like churches. So they didn't need it. They have a ritual purification, but it was a sect, so it's not very well known. Lobodan knows better than me about this. He wrote a lot about this. This is the, how can I say, the spread of the Gnosticism from Palestine, from Syria, arrived Turkey, after Bulgaria, Bosnia, and here where there is this monument. What is a dolina? I explained just now. It's a depression of the soil caused by the geological sinkhole, but closed. There are a lot of menhirs all around, because it's like an amphitheater. There is no documents about this. There is the memory, the community of the memory, and some documents speaking about it in 17th century, but we don't know anything. So it was attributed to the Bogumili, but it's not possible. It's not impossible. Another important thing in the excavation in the bottom of the sinkhole, they found Roman plates. So probably it was present during the Roman period. Probably is, I can say, is before, was built before. Again, this is a scheme. This is a sinkhole with the amphitheater, and here there is a dolmen covered with soil. The aspect is this. A little door, a long passage, and a dome, a chamber with a dome. It's very similar to the technology used in Sardinia, in these giant tombs. This one and this one. But there are 20, 30 tombs like this. With the same technology we found near Trieste. You can see, for example, the passage of Sardinia or a Sardinian tomb, and you can see the passage of the Dolina of Bogumili. It's not so different. And Sardinia is here. Trieste is here. So distant, and the same technology. You can see the entrance is all made by dry stone, but why it was not destroyed by Catholic Church, which destroyed all the pagan symbol? Because it was very difficult to find. You see, during the summer, it's not possible to see it. This is there is the dolmen in this place. You see the dolmen when there is all the trees in summer. So, now, the archeoacustic, very shortly. We placed a drum because in Sardinia, the giant tombs have a strong resonance, similar to what we found in Malta, for example. We tested the drum outside in the air, and we tested the drum inside the chamber. And what we found, this is outside with the recorders, and inside, but the microphone was on the other side of the amphitheater for recording. See? It's not working, good? Yes, okay. This is the aspect with the bass sound and the harmonics in the air, and you can see the different aspect when the drum is inside the chamber. It's changed totally because this drum activates the resonance. We use this program, that is a professional software, used in all the big studio for sound, and obtain this. When you are in the passage, you see just a little harmonics. When you are in the chamber, you activate immediately the resonance. You can see in this violet line. It was made by our sound engineer, Heikki Savolainen. This is particular when we are outside of the chamber and when we are entering the chamber. This is particular, the activation of resonance that is just in that range from 80 to 120, and it is at 91 hertz. This is the drum in the air. As it aspect of the resonance, this is not the drum, it's the chamber, activated by the drum, like in Malta. Okay, I hope to. Outside. I entering inside the chamber. This is the resonance of the chamber. It's not only the drum. Okay, conclusions. First, we have to backdate this monument. It's not from Middle Age. It's probably from a protohistoric period. Another important concept, if we found the same technology in Sardinia, in Malta, and in northeast Italy, the significance is those people traveled a lot. And with their travels, they carried with them the ideas and the technology. It's not possible if we found the same technology in the same period in so distant populations. Third, these people had a great knowledge of the relationship between sound and state of mind, because they placed the resonance in that chamber, in an empiric way, obviously, just in that range we found it in Malta and in the other sites on the Mediterranean basin. I hope you are not bored by my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.